Hey everybody, it's Hylian Alchemist, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda. In the last episode, we have completed the Eagle and got our first piece of the Triforce of Wisdom, and in this episode we are going to tackle our second dungeon of the game. Also, keep in mind, folks, that every video of this LP is going to have me starting off with the first area that you are in whenever you first start this adventure. Because, well, whenever I look at the maps in Zelda Dungeon, then they always, the arrow just starts off from that first section that you start off with, so, I do apologize for that, but in case you ever do get lost, I'm going to provide a map for this game, just in case if you're ever using this game as a guide of sorts. But, you know, I don't think I fully intend to make my Let's Plays a kind of like a guide, but, well, I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be using it as a guide, but, you know, I mean, it's just me just, you know, showing off my gameplay here and then just commentating over it. Maybe sometimes even make fun of my, my occasional screw-ups. Which is actually even more apparent by the beginning of this LP, over the amount of times that I cut off some parts because of, you know, because of me screwing up a lot. But of course, you guys didn't see all that. But hey, it's just weird that, you know, whenever you're first starting off this game, then, you know, a lot of things will start coming at you and you will die a lot. But I mean, you actually did have very weak defense, because, well, because, you know, the green tunic is actually, you know, the weakest defense here, but since we kind of upgrade our defenses, then I probably won't screw up as easily. I mean, I even got a potion with me, just in case, so, well, whenever I get into a little bit of a near-death experience. But yeah, from this point onward, it won't be that tedious. Well, actually, later on it gets very much so, but well, at least in this part, it's not that tedious, but once we get to the later dungeons, then, yeah, it can be a bit hellish. But not so much with the sequel to this game. Oh, God. I mean, you know, well, I could talk about it a little later, but we're just about getting close to, getting to the second dungeon, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about while we're in there. There's also something else I was going to say, but I forgot entirely. But, what are you going to do? So, onward to the second dungeon, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is called the Moon. No, it is not the moon from Majora's Mask, you silly. I mean, well, you know, the interior of the moon is just, for some reason, all colorful grassy fields and a tree in the center. No, it is not the moon from Majora's Mask. And there is no moon trying to kill us all, but, yeah, that's what it's called, but, hey, that's actually, the layout of this dungeon is, of course, is based, like, you know, the name of this dungeon is based on the layout, like I said before, so it's actually going to be shaped like a crescent moon. A couple of new enemies I'm going to go over. These are called, not snakes, they're ropes. Yeah, that's what they're called, ropes. And that, my friends, is called a snake. The more you know. But yeah, basically, what ropes do is that, like, they can move a little slow, but once you're right in front of them, or you happen to go right in front of them, then they'll start charging at you. So they can be a little persistent like that, but they're not all that hard to kill. I mean, they can be a little annoying, especially when you're trying to when you're going in front of them and then they charge at you, but they're a little easy to kill. Of course, taking this stopwatch right here kind of makes it very easy for us to cheese all these enemies. And I think once we go in that door, are there? Oh wait, no, they're not. Just those little gels and a compass for us to pick up. Actually, I could just say right now, So yeah, about Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. I actually did consider at one point for doing an LP of that game for my next Zelda Let's Play, even though it is very challenging, which is why it's considered the black sheep of the Zelda series. But then I actually did a little bit of a test playthrough, and even the first palace and the boss there too is just merciless. And so I decided, you know what? I'm not dealing with that. I mean, it's way too tough. Mind you guys, I actually did beat Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, but that was only through an emulator. And because of the vast difficulty that the game has, I had no choice but to abuse a lot of save states. I know it's a really cheap way to do, and it doesn't make me a better person, but I just had no choice. The game is just, as Some Call Me Johnny would put it, this game will literally just, well, if I can word correctly, just smash you right in the throat and cut off your phone line to prevent you from calling the ambulance. It is that hard. Trust me, it is. Especially in later parts like Death Mountain, or even worse, on your way to the Great Palace. That is the worst. Trust me, it is. And another thing, that it is a side-scroller, and for certain games, well, such as the Super Mario Bros. Series, I do suck at 2D side-scrollers. I think the only side-scroller games that I could be good at are the Kirby games, because I have played through Kirby 64, which is a game that I grew up with as a kid, and I was actually pretty good at it. So I think those could be the only exceptions. And yeah, those statues did show beams at you, so that's when statues are suddenly turning against you! Oh no! And a new enemy right here, that is called a Moldorm. Very easy to kill in this game. They are very easy to kill. You have nothing to worry about. They can make copies of themselves, but you don't have that much of a problem. I know there are Moldorm bosses that are probably one of the most annoying bosses in Link to the Past. Not so much with Link Between Worlds, though. Well, I mean, if you know what you're doing at least, but... well, unless you're playing hero mode. I gotta say, though, for some odd reason, that Moldorm boss in Link Between Worlds, it kind of looks like a cheeseburger for some reason. I'm serious. I mean, the head looks like a bun with sesame seeds, and the green stuff around it looks a lot like lettuce. I know, it's kind of weird. I don't know what it is. It's just, I mean, were the developers hungry? I don't know. But it's just kind of weird like that. Other than that, though, I actually really do love Link Between Worlds. I mean, if you haven't played it already, well, I mean, you could give Link to the Past a shot too, because that game's really fun, but I especially do love A Link Between Worlds, so I do recommend you give it a shot. It plays a lot like Link to the Past, but, I do recommend that game. But anyway, here, I am so sorry I did not talk about the new item we just picked up, but I know it's a boomerang that we already had that item before, but it's actually called a magical boomerang. It's actually better than the regular one. I think, as far as I know, it has better range or better hits. I don't know. Anyway, so now we are at the boss of this dungeon. That is the Dodongo. Simple as that. So you just place bombs right into his mouth, and then 2 hits. That's all it takes. It's like pathetically easy. But what is it with easy bosses? I don't know. Well, not the case with later dungeons, though. And now we got the second piece of the Triforce of Wisdom. You know, I gotta love that feeling you get when, especially the theme music, that that little jingle when you acquire that Triforce piece. It gives you a really good feeling that you accomplished something. I mean, that's the feeling I get. I don't know why. It just feels like that to me. But yeah, anyway, I think I need to go back to what I was saying about the thing with Zelda 2. Yeah, it's way too challenging, even for me. So just still, like I said, a little test playthrough of it. It was just too much. So I decided, you know what, I'm I'm not feeling it. I can't do it. I mean, I could just go through the game with no save state run or restore point, but it's just too much. So I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm gonna be doing it. It is tough. I mean that's not to say I really don't hate the game, but you know, hey, it is kind of called the black sheep of the Zelda series for a reason. But anyways, I might as well just go ahead and go and skip ahead to A Link to the Past for my next Zelda LP. So apologies for that, but anyways, so I think that about does it. In the next episode, we're going to tackle our third dungeon in the game, so I will see you guys then.